Welcome everybody to the Jim Hickey podcast, the A to Z of success in the ring. This week, Jim, on this new series in 2026, we're on the letter B, and this stands for the BS stories we tell ourselves. Now, it sounds a bit rude, but what do you mean by BS story now, Jim?
Well, first of all, Connor, very welcome everybody. Thank you, Connor, and everybody, you're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I actually have fun with this word because I will never say it, but people have a different word for BS. And my words, two words, are bad stories.
Oh, right.
So it's not
That you're going to say something else.
Yeah, everybody does. But I'm a gentleman. So the key is to understand that we have BS stories. We have a lot of bad stories, a lot more than we think. If we watched our stories we tell ourselves continuously inside this brain of ours, we have an average of 100,000 thoughts a day, which is crazy. A lot of them are the same, and a lot of them are negative. And we're not aware of them, and they've become a pattern of our lives for a long time. And we have to consciously think of each word we speak, because each word has an effect and has an impact on who we are and who we become. So our internal dialogue has to be monitored continuously. And as you ride your horse, you're not sending negative signals. Your job is to send positive signals and to do positive steps. And your horse repeats positive reactions. But as human beings, we have this negative story that continuously goes around our brain. And when riders come to me and I ask, like, what would be your negative thoughts or your negative dialogue or your stories that don't serve you, what would be something people amaze me about how badly they feel about themselves. And it's riders at all different levels, but it's natural, because we pick up negative stories from the past that we don't feel good enough. It comes back to that we're not loved and not feeling good enough. And that's not our parents' fault, or everybody is doing their best with the tools they have. But not feeling good enough is a huge thing, and it just comes from a small bit of criticism repeated over a number of years through our early influencers. And it could be a throwaway comment. A writer told me recently, someone said to me, that I'll never make it, you'll never be good enough. And I felt that I'll never be good enough. Another writer recently told me that, when it comes to big competitions, you always crack under pressure. And that was one of our biggest, things to work through, because that was a story she carried and brought into her adulthood. But unless you're working through these stories and become aware of this limiting belief we have, we will continue it. So that's one of my favorite things. When people come, I feel so lucky that people have this safe space to talk to me and to talk about their stories and how they feel, and what's and unearth the past that is preventing them from moving forward. And as you become aware, then you can change the story. So the BS story, the bad story, to a good story. But you have to know the bad stories and maybe recognize where it came from and be okay with it and forgive. Sometimes you could be angry. I was told this, and this person made my life so hard. I was at a ring in the warm-up ring in Ocala, and a trainer told me that some friend she thought was a friend said some things to her a number of years ago, and it stuck in my head. And she said, I can't let it go. It's just really knocked me back, and it's my dominant thought every day, and it's such a negative, BS story, bad story. And how do I get rid of it? And I said, well, first of all, you have to be aware that you can own that story, or you can let it go. It's there, but you have to decide, okay, that's her opinion, but I don't believe that. But what happens, people's opinions become your opinions if you let them in. So you have to become aware that people will say things and will be unkind. Some teenagers and feel like girl teenagers can, admit to being unkind to each other, and they can say something that will really affect them, and that they're going to carry it, and their horse is going to feel it. It's not fair, but becoming aware is such a powerful uh, practice to work on, but it takes effort and it takes time, and for us to, as human beings, always to say empowering things and kind things to people, it's a full-time job. So
Just as a question that's coming to me is, like, how, so why is it we take some things personal and internalize it as true, when other things and certain things other people say, we think, oh no, no, disregard it out of hand.
yeah, it's a great question, Connor. Sometimes people, it depends on the person. You might respect that person and value what they say, and they could say something. It could be a weak moment. It could be a joke. It could be just, as us in Ireland, we tease all the time. I've heard so many stories that, that they're probably only joking when they look back, but they took it personally and they respected that person. Sometimes writers would say, look, I don't mind, people watching me that I don't know, but if this person turns up, one writer, top professional writer, his uncle used to go to the show, and he said, whatever power that man had, I would never write well. And like, this man is one of the top writers. And he said it happens every time. We worked through it, and another time I was back at that show where he competes all the time, and he said that, like, that's completely gone now. He said that just talking through it and working through it, I don't have that anymore. Now, when he appeared at the show the last time, I wrote great because I'd worked through it. So I didn't let that BS story control me. But that's because he gave the time and space to work it out, and he was vulnerable to share it and talk about it. This guy is a tough guy, and I was delighted that he was able to go back and tell that story. Because we need to be truthful to ourselves, Conor, to understand that we have these negs inside us that hold us back, and we have to change. We have to say, okay, this isn't serving me. One writer told me recently that he heard another writer say to his daughter that, forget about that. This, that's going to be too expensive. Don't be putting those thoughts into her head. Some of the top writers in all sports in the world, not just in the equestrian world, but in all sports, have made it from nothing. Absolutely, some writers didn't have any horsey background. Everything is possible with passion, with hunger, with belief, with drive, and that's what we can't forget. However, when we have a negative thought in our brain, it will block us, and if we don't recognize it and work through it, we will be stuck in that place, and we're limited. Sometimes writers would say, how come I'm just stuck at this level, like this limit? I can't seem to get past it. I feel this is my limit. I feel I can't. But that's a limiting story. Another word for it is a BS story. There's a story inside your brain, your mind, your head that you're telling yourself again and again that's stopping you from going from here to here. And it's becoming aware of that BS story, changing it from a bad story to a good story. And again, when writers come to me, I get excited. I don't tell them, whoa, that's the breakthrough. That was holding you back. Another writer, she had lost her confidence completely, and she didn't really know what had happened or how it happened or where it was, and her mom and her trainer, didn't know either. And eventually, maybe towards the very end of the call, I can't remember how many minutes, but she said, after that rotational fall, and I said, okay, will we talk about that? Yeah, she said, but I knew instantly that was the challenge she had. And then we worked through that incident, and we worked on tools and techniques to help her pass that, and to help her to feel safe and protected, and that she can get back to the way she was before. But I knew that was a huge part of her lack of confidence. So that was a story that, her brain was a bad story that she hadn't overcome. She hadn't worked through it, and she hadn't converted it to the good story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what you're saying is, usually it's someone that you value or love or protect or respect, and that what their opinion matters most to you, and then you internalize that, whether it's good or bad.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And it could be peers, it could be just joking, people teasing, and whatever moment in time, nobody knows. We just take in something more now than it would have affected us at a different time. Another time it mightn't affect us. We don't know. But it goes back to when you ride a horse. If you get sloppy and get lazy and let a horse get away with. One of the top riders said, "Look, I let the horse just get too strong, too cheeky on me, and little by little he was, I wasn't checking him in. I should have reined him in earlier. Like he's a 5-star horse. We can get so complacent very easily. We have to be the top of our game, to the top of our minds, and to catch ourselves having stories that don't serve us."
And if it's someone where, like, is there a technique then for kind of, I suppose, neutralizing that charge?
Yeah, I think the best way is to analyze yourself, to ask yourself, what am I thinking now? What thoughts am I having? And to do, I'm a big fan of meditating, taking those 3 minutes, and each time you use your restroom, even if you can take a minute. I was talking to a writer yesterday, and she said, taking those minutes, and I tell other people and even members of my family that are not writers, like they're taking time, and there might be the first level of awareness to take those moments. It's so easy, everyone's on their phones, but set the alarm for a minute and just slow down and ask yourself, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I feeling now? Are my thoughts negative? Are they BS stories? Are they good stories? And I promise, the majority of the time there are stories that you need to change to be better stories. But it's the quiet time. You have to take that quiet time. Otherwise, they'll keep repeating. And if you don't stop and sit down, like us, before we started, we meditated. I saw you just sitting down. Went somewhere else, set my phone for 3 minutes so that I was just clear and relaxed and present.
Yeah, and what's coming to me as well is, like, a lot of these stories we internalize when we're kids or teenagers and we're a bit more vulnerable. And like, my son is 16 now, and I look back at myself when I was 16 and going, was I as confident as him? How did I feel about myself or whatever? So you can imagine if someone said something to him now, I'd be like completely, in a way, stronger, uh, emotionally strong, to give him guidance or whatever. But also you kind of give that guidance to your 16-year-old self. Look back at yourself as that 16-year-old going, sure, that's not true. Sure, that's like, that was years ago. That was a stupid comment. But somehow you internalized it at the time, or that person was saying it out of their own negativity, their own vulnerability, or their own issues they had within themselves. But we took it personal, as opposed to just brushing it off, saying, no, no, that's not about me. That's about their own issues.
Absolutely, yeah. And cultures too are different, different cultures have different ways of, to keep your head down. Keep your head down in one way. That could be, a person could mean that that's a nice thing, stay humble. But someone else might feel, oh, don't push myself, don't raise my head above a parrot, but just keep low, don't. So but inside us all, we have an internal moral compass. We have an internal compass that will tell us what's right or wrong. And if you take a breath and take a moment to set your phone, to sit in quietness, again, ideally early in the morning, bedtime, when things are quiet, and just say, what am I feeling? What are my thoughts? Are they serving me? Is it a bad story, good story? And if it's not, switch it. Write it down. How can I change that story? You change your story, you change your life.
So again, maybe just bring us into a meditation to integrate that, and move us away from those bad stories and move us into this, where we ideally want to be in that person, and so we can step into that feeling, into that person, and into that identity.
Okay, good person, good story.
Into a good story.
Good story. BS story, bad story to a good story. Okay, here we go. Closing your eyes again, allowing yourself drop into this beautiful place. But hear the words and feel yourself relaxing, seeing your body, witnessing your body, dropping into a beautiful place of calm, relaxed energy. Breathing in powerful breaths that draw you into a place where you're at peace with yourself, where you are at one, where your right arm, your left arm is relaxed, where you give yourself permission to relax your forehead, your upper back, your lower back, allow your neck and shoulders drop, allow your feet anchor into the universe, into Mother Earth, allowing your right foot, your left foot relax, becoming aware of your breath. Oh, connect to the ease and flow of it. And as you breathe in this good, calm, relaxing energy, feel the certainty and the confidence of your new life, away from BS stories, becoming conscious of taking time out to analyze your stories, to check in. Are they BS stories, bad stories? And when you become aware that they are, flip the switch, permission to rescript the bad stories to the good stories, feeling the ease of the new life, your new story, your new life. And as you promise yourself to let go of the old, reminding yourself you are enough, you're loved. The biggest fears that humans have, that they're not enough, we're not enough, we're not loved. And you make sure that those top two stories are that you are more than enough, and you're loved by yourself, that self-love, that peace inside your heart, soul, your brain. All the stories that you will give yourself going forward will be analysed, and the negative ones will be flipped to positives. And you feel this feeling of freedom, the new you, the happier you, the more content you, the more successful. Inside the ring and outside the ring, the stories you tell yourself are no longer BS stories. They're GS stories, the good stories. This is the good life. This is the good life you're creating. This is the great life you're creating. This is the life that brings you joy. The life that brings you more fun, more passion, more pleasure. Doing what you love, loving what you do, watching, analysing, witnessing any stories that do not serve. And you flip the switch, you flip the script, you rewrite the bad stories to the good stories, feeling the energy from your toes to your heels, to your feet, to your legs, your right leg, left leg. Feel the energy soar right up to your heart, to your arms, your fingers, your mind, your brain, your heart, that you are more than enough, that you are filled with good stories, that your life is an exciting, fun-filled life. You've let go of the old, you've stepped into the new, left go of the stories, the BS stories that did not serve. You step into the future you, who's filled with belief, passion, purpose, excitement, knowing you are successful. That's who you are. 5, 6, 7, feel that energy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it build, let it boil, let it bubble up. The passion, the purpose of the best version of you, stronger, more capable than you've ever dreamt possible. This is who you are. This is your identity. This is you striving to new levels, filled with only good stories, and consciously aware of old stories that might pop in that you or become aware of, and you flip the switch to the stories that serve you to be the best you, the best version of you, your best life. 8, 9, and 10. Great job. Well done.
Everybody, this has been the Jim Hickey podcast, the A to Z of success in the ring. Next week, or the next episode, we're going to focus on the letter C, feeling of being out of control and how we can overcome it, that feeling of feeling panicky and again overcoming it.